Hey guys, Gwyned here, bringing you the semifinals from MPDC 20 Worlds. One more time, Chip is playing Gruul Disciples. Brazil is playing a spellless white weenie list. They are tied one game apiece, and this is game 3. Let's get started. Chip does choose to play first and has to mulligan down to 6. Brazil keeps his hand, and we're off. And once again, Chip's going to lead with a turn 1 Gruul Guildgate, and Brazil does have a turn 1 play, Doom Traveler, good for him. And Chip on his turn 2 goes ahead and drops another tap land as well as a Young Wolf. He's going to happily swing in. They both basically get a free creature out of the deal. Chip gets the 2/2, but in this meta, probably having the 1/1 flyer is probably a little stronger. And at the end of his turn, he's going to follow it up with another Doom Traveler. Obviously now, feel free to attack in with that 2/2. He'll sacrifice the chump block basically with the Doom Traveler, but now he also has 2 unblockable creatures, which is pretty good for him. And Chip's going to follow it up with a Splatter Thug. Let's see. In his case, probably wants to go ahead and unleash it. But having a 2/2 back on defense might not be too bad either, depending on what's in his hand. But yeah, he's probably the control deck here. So if I were him, I probably wouldn't unleash it, but he does go ahead and unleash it. So Brazil's going to swing in for 2 here, and presumably has a follow-up play. Has a pacifism to annul the Splatter Thug. So it wouldn't have mattered whether he had unleashed it or not, but definitely something to keep in mind. Alright, so both opponents are now at 18. And Chip follows it up with a Slaughterhorn. Definitely a very nice little creature. A 3/2 for 3 is very good, and then the ability to activate the Blood Rush basically gives you a giant growth, almost a giant growth that you can only play on an attacking creature. So definitely good, nice value there. Back on his turn, Brazil continues to swing in. Doesn't have any desired chump block with his spirits yet, and has an Attendant Knight, which will be able to keep that Slaughterhorn back pretty effectively. Assuming, of course, Chip doesn't have a trick. Chip instead is going to go ahead and burn out the Attendant Knight, and then continue to swing in with his 2 creatures. And Brazil's going to go ahead and chump here, it looks like he does, preserving his life total, keeping him at parity at 16. Brazil continues to swing in with his little spirit tokens, and has another Attendant Knight as a follow-up. See what Chip's able to do here. He just continues to swing in. Obviously, almost certainly has the trick here. So blocking the Young Wolf with the Attendant Knight. Let's see if he does have the trick. Yeah, he's got a Ranger's Guile to pump him up and to be able to defeat the Attendant Knight. So it's able to get rid of Brazil's creatures. Pretty advantageous attack. But Brazil's just going to keep on swinging with his spirits. And has a Loyal Cathar this time. So back on his turn, Chip's going to go ahead and do Faithless Looting. Definitely an interesting card. The ability to draw 2 and then discard 2 for 1 red mana is generally pretty good, particularly in an aggressive deck where if you have lands in hand, this can be a great way to pitch them. And the fact that you can do it again with the flashback cost basically means with the flashback, you're basically up a card at that point. It's the looting is basically neutral. The fact that you draw 2 and then discard 2. So you don't really get a lot of value out of the first Faithless Looting, but at least the value gets pretty incidental. But the second one is definitely worth doing. So he does have the ability. He discards a Brimstone Volley and a land. So that's interesting that that's what he chooses to discard. Maybe a decision that comes back and haunts him. Of course, I don't know what else is in his hand. But his hand must be pretty strong to discard a Brimstone Volley. So the beats continue, and now Chip has lost half his life total, and Brazil's sitting back with pretty good defense, especially now that he has this Johnny's Sunstriker, really be able to build up some life with that lifelink ability. And of course the Loyal Cathar is able to hold a lot of stuff at bay. Chip presumably draws into a trick, and is going to go ahead again and double block, and he just lets both those die. Interesting. And follows it up just with a Disciple. And the Loyal Cathar comes back, and the spirits continue, dropping Chip to 8. And then Brazil's follow-up play is a second Ajani Sunstriker. Oh, as well as an Aven Squire. Alright. Let's see what Chip's able to do here. He unfortunately just has to pass. Oh no, I thought he was going to pass. He's going to go ahead and plummet the Aven Squire. Probably a good move. Keeps this guy from becoming unmanageable. But he's got to find some way of dealing with those spirits or it's going to be over pretty quick. and Brazil has a Seraph of Dawn to follow up. So definitely not looking good for Chip. He does draw into a 4th land. He does have another plummet for the Seraph of Dawn, which will keep him in the game. But again, the fact that he can't do anything about those spirits is really hurting him. Dropping him to 4, so basically he's on a 2-turn clock now, unless he's able to do something to stop those spirits. And Brazil's basically just dumping his hand. Has a pretty significant lead now. Doesn't actually, I guess it does change his clock. He attacks with everything, and that'll be game. So let's see if Brazil goes ahead and does that. He does. He's just going to attack with everything, and that should be the game unless Chip's got 2 removal spells. And he's going to give the guy first strike. Obviously that doesn't matter. And does he have a trick? He does have a trick. What's he going to do? Fist pumps. And just has a brimstone volley. Oh, to kill himself. All right. Nice way to go out. So the semifinals ended, and the White Weenie deck was victorious. So I'll be back in just a little bit to bring you the finals from MPDC Season 20 World. Stay tuned.